Hello and welcome to the Lost Art Podcast. I'm Paul and I'm here with Gar.
That's me.
He always says that's me and I always say, this is Gar.
Yeah.
You'd never know from the intro which episode it's going to be because that's how we start them.
Pretty much.
That's just how they all start.
That's the
how they
beauty
all
of it.
start. Except now I've ruined it by talking about how we start.
It's okay. It's a little gimmick.
I like it.
I like
I think
gimmicks.
people like gimmicks as well as that. Like, not writing these a new intro every time.
Thoughts of it. Like fucking Jay Leno or something. What's the
Yeah.
deal with the sun? Yeah. Fuck off.
me and him, I don't know when I listen to this. If it's recently, you'll understand the heat is
bad.
cutting us in half.
Yeah. I've got my Hillbilly air conditioning hooked up again. I've doubled down on my Hillbilly conditioning. I've got 2 camping ice blocks elastic banded onto my fan, and it's definitely helping. But it only lasts for about an hour.
I didn't think that would help, but that's mad.
It's fucking killing it, man. But it's not. I'm not dying right now. Let's put it that way. After Saturday night, after we were doing the show on Saturday night, I walked downstairs. I was like, "There's something wrong with my foot." Like, obviously, I fell down a hole. Anybody who wasn't listening on Saturday night, I fell down a hole and fucked up my ankle.
Fell down a hole and he fucked up his ankle all bad.
So I smashed up my ankle to bits. I'd been out of work for a week and it was swollen for like 2 or 3 days, and the swelling was kind of going back down, and I was just into normal ankle pain. It hurt. But after sitting there for like 4 hours doing that live show on Saturday night in the heat, my foot looked like a fucking loaf of bread. I was terrified. I thought I was going to have to go to the hospital, and I was locked as well, which didn't help.
Jesus.
Seriously, I'll show you a photo of what my foot looked like later.
You'd have to tell them that like this happened when I was sober.
Yeah, and I've been sitting down for 4 hours drinking. In an oven, just set to about 50 degrees the oven, but I was sitting in there for 4 hours, and now my toes and all are swollen. It was grim looking. It was grim. So I'm hoping I don't get a repeat of that tonight. We shouldn't be here for 4 hours. Fingers crossed.
No, we can't. We're not going to be playing any of the music tonight because you can just have to listen to it on the playlist. The reason we did it is because it doesn't really need it. I don't think. I mean, it would help, but I think I'd rather you all listen to this playlist in particular because the songs need to be kind of heard in their entirety. And
exactly.
You've heard us talk about. You probably heard the birth of this when Gar was playing a song one day. I went, whatever he said.
It's about a month ago, I think.
Yeah, whatever he said, it just triggered an idea. And then we both instantly thought that would make a great podcast. Then we shuffled along real quickly. So now we're going to do that podcast, and it is Swan Songs, which are the last songs that people wrote before they died, but they had to know they were going to die.
Exactly, it has to be
not just a circumstantial thing. These are written almost positively. Definitely some of them, definitely most of them, with the knowledge that the person was not going to be around for too much longer, by different means, and we'll get into some of them on the podcast. So it's mad. It's mad. Imagine the pressure, knowing you're going to die.
This is it.
Going, right. Like, there's some absolute stories of heroics in this podcast. I'll tell you right now. There's some things that are done in this, and they're not just the last one. They're like, and the critics aren't just saying they're great because that's the last one. These are, there's some liquid came out of these people that made them, like when they're about to die, that they turned into songs.
Oh yeah,
some sort of part that they could never access before.
Absolutely.
Like they might have taken pain from the past, but this is a different ballgame. This is you are on your way out. You have limited time to write this. You may even, and in some cases it is, they've limited capacity to write and sing properly.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the joyous summer podcast.
Exactly. Yeah. I always assume that a lot of these artists, because I'm sure you do it, and I know that I do it. Like when I'm making music, I'll always have like some kind of either like a vocal hook or a lyric line that's in the back of my head that I've never fully truly explored, and I've gone like, that's fucking killer. I'm going to keep that. That's just back pocket, or it might be guitar riff, or it might be some sort of melody, and you go, you know what? I'm going to develop that at a later stage. I need something special for this one.
Yeah,
and
I need to be
like. Yeah, exactly. Something has to be happening in my life for me to put the kind of fully expand upon this idea, and I think that happens a good bit with a lot of these songs.
It's mad. Like this was so interesting to me. To
reading this stuff, some of it was horror show, but it was very interesting.
I have to say though, if we had been banging out one episode a week, we would have fucking not done this episode properly.
No.
Now I think we've had a bit of time. This is what we wanted. We wanted time to go back to research and doing the podcast when it wasn't a pressure where we're, like we're talking about pressure getting a podcast out. These people were writing pressurized albums when they were on their way out. So I won't moan too much about that. So look, tell us who your first Swan song is.
My first one's rather obvious, but it has to be done. It's David Bowie.
Oh yeah, but like you have to.
It has to be done. It's a big one with the entire album.
It's the biggest one.
Yeah,
it's the biggest one.
Well, it's also one of the most recent ones as well, so it's still kind of fresh. So Bowie, 1947 to 2016. It was liver cancer that got him eventually. He was. It's really. It's weird. The timing of everything he'd done with this album is kind of fucky. So he put the album out on his birthday, and he was diagnosed 18 months earlier. So he had been planning this whole kind of Swan song from the day he got diagnosed. Like he knew he had terminal liver cancer, and there was nothing he could do about it. And so he was like, I have to get in the studio. I'm going to fucking do this really dark album. And at the time he was listening to like Boards of Canada, Kendrick Lamar, Death Grips, all this kind of stuff. He wanted that real grim, kind of chunky fucking nightmare music from the elevator down to hell. It's what he wanted, and he got it. To be fair to him, he fucking got it, It's haunting in places, this album. Like,
it is. It's fucking dark.
It's dark. It's hard to listen to as well. Like when it first came out, it was like, this is too fresh, and it sounds too much like death, is the way I put it. It took me about a year before I could actually sit there and enjoy this album for what it was,
It's not like heavy for the sake of it. It's actually actualized heaviness.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's David Bowie, first of all, one of the greatest artists of all time.
Yep.
And he's been told that he's going to die. The ball's in his court then, and this is what he comes out with.
This is what he comes up with. Yeah.
It's scary at times to listen to this album. I can't listen to this album every week.
No, absolutely not.
I'd have to throw this on once every few months, and then afterwards I feel a bit tired after it, as it was fucking heavy. Like it genuinely is heavy.
It's grim.
On your ears.
He died 2 days after this album came out. Wow. So he lived. There's a couple of my guys now who didn't live to see their albums coming out. They worked on it, and that was the plan, and they didn't make it. But Bowie made it. He held on for 2 more days to see how it done, and if it was not necessarily how it done in the charts, although it was his first top 40 hit in 28 years. This album, it's. His producer Tony Visconti confirmed that he knew he was dying. Like, like he sat down, they worked on stuff together, and they were like, "This has to be my fucking sayonara." You know what I mean? This has to be like my Swan song. I want it to be something different from anything else I've ever done, but I also wanted to fit into the catalogue. The lyrics across the board. The song I picked was Lazarus because that's definitely aimed at. 100% aimed at what he wanted to do, and it's kind of the way he wrote the song was he was going to assume that like all famous people he would get more famous after his death, so he wrote a song about kind of what he'd gone through and how he assumed that he was going to be on everybody's lips for a couple of months after he died.
Months, Jesus, yeah.
There's someone outside my window singing a song. We should get them on.
Yeah,
come on in. Sing this song.
Famous.
Sing this song for us. So yeah, after listening to
he's already on Nyler. Nyler's already got some lads singing out with a pair of wrecked Air Max. He's already on
Nyler. I'm going to talk to you about that later, actually, off air.
No, that sounds like we're having a dig.
Well, it was. Having a dig.
It
was a light dig. It was a playful dig. How about that? A lightful dig. So looking at the lyrics that he wrote for Lazarus, let me just blend these off because he didn't actually do that many lyrically. It's there's not that much going on. So it says, "Look up here, I'm in heaven. I've got scars that can't be seen. I've got drama, can't be stolen. Everybody knows me now. Look up here, man, I'm in danger. I've got nothing left to lose. I'm so high, it makes my brain whirl. Dropping my cell phone down down below. Ain't that just like me? By the time I got to New York, I was living like a king. There, I used up all my money. I was looking for your ass. This way or no way, you know that I'll be free. Just like a bluebird. Now, ain't that just like me? That's the entire... That's all that happens in it. And what, like, when you're reading that there, you've got, look up here, I'm in heaven, I'm dead. I've got scars from fucking all sorts of chemo and poking and prodding and whatever the fuck else is going on. I've got drama that can't be stolen, that can't be taken off him. Everybody knows me now. Again, he's talking about everybody fucking just being on everybody's lips for a while after dying. I'm so high it makes my brain whirl, obviously on serious amounts of painkillers and who knows what else to keep things going. By the time I got to New York...
That'd be nothing to Bowie, thankfully.
Oh yeah, exactly. By the time I got to New York, I was living like a king there. I used up all my money. He died in his New York apartment in New York City. He had his ashes scattered in a Buddhist ceremony in Bali, Indonesia. I think if Black Star is... kind of one of the penultimate Swan songs, this song is the one from the album that is most certainly him confronting his own death. It's grim. It's actually a lovely song, and it's slow and it's sad, but it's the fact that he was able to sit there and, like, imagine taking a pen to paper and writing those lyrics. Like, look up here, I'm in heaven. I've got nothing left to lose. I'm so high it makes my brain whirl. Everybody knows me now. I've got scars that can't be seen. Like, now I'll be free. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, there's a lot in there, and I don't know the strength it must take for any of these artists to, like, instead of just going out and living off past glories. Like, because if David Bowie died when David Bowie died without having released this album, it wouldn't necessarily have made a difference to his legacy. Everybody would have been still playing fucking Major Tom and stuff like that, you know?
But like, now everyone's like, there's no doubt in his genius after this.
Exactly. Like, he literally used his own demise as material. And
what is now, like, it's one of the last monstrous albums.
Oh yeah, I can't think of anything super monster since then. Like, not in that world. There's been big pop albums and stuff like that, but in that kind of alternative world, I can think of very few that were that revered. And the fact that he released on his birthday and died 2 days later, like, so it's the 8th of same birthday as me, the 8th of January 2016 is when this came out, and the 10th of January he was dead. Like, fucking crazy. Anyway, listen,
I didn't know. Nobody knew.
Nobody knew. He kept it quiet. A lot of these people keep everything quiet, because the only interviews, like, if they do interviews, that's all they'll be asked about. Nobody will ask them about the work.
Jesus, yeah, no,
you know. Yeah. So they just shut the fuck up about it. He only had 18 months. Like, he was diagnosed 18 months before this album came out. That's all he had to write and bang out the album.
And, like, it's not like he can just, like, take that time off. He used to be doing.
He's doing 1,000 other things.
Like, appointments and being absolutely knackered, being out of his head, being super depressed probably.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's heroics. It genuinely is.
It is. Heroics, he could be a hero for more than one day. Do you like that? Right, who's your first one?
My first one is a song called Introduce Yourself, from the album Introduce Yourself by Gord Downey. We've talked about the Tragically Hip before. We've talked about Gord Downey before on at least two, I think, other podcasts. Gord Downey released this album. It was released 10 days after his death. This was a double album. We spoke about before him being an absolutely incredible lyricist with Tragically Hip and his solo stuff. This was a double album.
Wow.
Like, so I think he had about a year, a little bit more than a year actually, when he was diagnosed with glioblastoma, which is a type of brain cancer. And that is the kind of cancer where it could be a certain amount of time or it could be a few days.
Yeah.
Like, you can't, he responded really well to the chemo, but still at the same time, they just said, we don't know how long it will be. So most of the songs on this 23 song album are first take jobs.
Oh,
wow. You've only got a certain amount of time. But here's a really weird thing he did, right? This album, 23 songs, are about everybody he wanted to say goodbye to. Like, so a lot of them have people's actual names in the title. Wow. So it's a really different approach to a Swan Song album. And there's just little stories about his friends in each of the songs and stuff like that.
Very cool.
I think that's absolutely beautiful. I really, really do. Oh, yeah. And the songs are, like, they are great songs. I listened to this album properly today. I listened to this. I knew this song. It's really weird because during all this, he still had time to do a Tragically Hip tour and album.
Wow.
I'm not going to post any of the lyrics because he had to do the Tragically Hip one. Like, that's his big thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't billed as the last tour and album because literally he may have gone on for another year. Oh yeah, he might have got another year out of life, but he unfortunately didn't. I'm not going to post any lyrics about this because it's the album as a whole is the Swan Song. And I'm not going to be picking poignant like lyrics about death during this because he hasn't sung about it. It's a Swan Song. It's a goodbye album like no other goodbye album I've ever really heard. I kind of would like to play this one, but we're not going to play the songs today on this one. But we really want people to listen to the
it's an important playlist.
Yeah, because you'll get more from it as well than we can. We're throwing up like maybe 4 to 8 lines as best, but we're not getting that feeling of the power, the songs. And even if we did we'd be trying to pick which little bit had the most. Just look at we started this podcast by making playlists
exactly.
And talking about this. So it's the same. I'm a big fan of the Tragically Hip. I really just love. They're one of the really most underrated artists. Not in Canada, huge in Canada, and they're really loved, really revered in there. That's Gord Downey's solo stuff. Introduce Yourself. Give it a listen now. Doing a double album. And the gas thing is, it's produced really well. Whenever I hear first takes, I'm going to go, oh, yeah, it's not going to sound great. But that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
It depends on what studio they're in as well. You've got 1,000 of those type of things that can happen like in there. Like if you've got a good producer, they can pull it out of you. You know, they can absolutely fucking pull it out of you.
To write, I know, like what I'm like, I'm the slowest worker imaginable. There's nothing, hopefully, I don't think wrong with me right now. And I'm like, imagine that level of pressure. I know we're going to talk about that for the whole podcast. That level of pressure when you're told you've only got a certain amount of time. So what's your lasting legacy? Not lasting legacy's already been established. What's your Swan Song? What's the last thing you bow out with? Like what's the last song that you're going to play? And this is a really, really good song. We don't know who this song is about. I don't think in particular. It could be about all of his friends collectively. Yeah. But then there are ones that are about people individually. That's Gord Downey from Tragically Hip. With Introduce Yourself. Who is your next one?
My next one is another kind of obvious one. It's Johnny Cash. And I picked a cover song because most of his last music were cover songs, and obviously I picked Hurt because that's his biggest song.
Have it all. Exactly. I'm not being a dick. I listened to this again today because it's on this playlist. It's so fucking good. It's brilliant cover.
It suits him so well.
It's brilliant. And I know that whenever I make jokes about this, I'm not making jokes about Nine Inch Nails, Johnny Cash or death. I'm making jokes with people who say, and I'm going to say it. Oh, it won't be the last time I say it. In this segment. I actually think that this cover is better than the original. Congratulations, Janet. That's a fucking mind-blowing revelation you came out with there. Because I just think it's more real. You think it's more real than the person who wrote it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, you think it's more real than the person who wrote it? Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely not better than the original. It's definitely not worse than the original. Like,
but it's definitely one of the best covers of all time.
Absolutely. Like, it's a different animal altogether. Trent Reznor gave an interview a while after this song came out, and he said, it's not my song anymore, it's a Johnny Cash song. Now, he could have been just being nice, because I think he might get like that every now and again, but you'd read other interviews with him, he's like, it was fine. But like,
maybe he's like, it's not my fucking song anymore, it's only fucking Cash song.
Exactly.
They could be like that as well, though.
Maybe. So Johnny Cash, 1932 to 2003, decent fucking run. Not the greatest either, though. He was 71 when he died. Which you think 71? I thought he was old as well. He was just in bits for fucking drinking and drugs. He was in shy. I know 71-year-old people who look better than him. You know, I know 80-year-old people who look better than him. He was just in bits, God help him. Died of complications due to diabetes in Nashville. But this song is off American 4, which is a series of albums he done, which are not all cover versions, but the majority of them are cover versions.
He had a reawakening.
Yeah, when he signed this deal to do the American recordings, I think part of it was like, I don't want to just do covers. I have no problem with most of it being covers because that'll be fun, but I might want to rework some of my old stuff, and I might have a few bits and bobs that might suit this kind of new style that we're working on. Like The Man Comes Around and stuff like that are, I think is on one of these albums, which is fucking fantastic. It's one of the best songs he's ever done. There's some great stuff on those albums. All of those albums are fantastic. So that's American 4. So this was the last album that was released during his lifetime. Okay, so that's the easiest way to put it. So this album came out in 2002 and he died in 2003. Now there was an album, a box set that was being worked on at the time called Unearthed. Unearthed. How do you pronounce that word?
Yeah.
Unearthed? That doesn't sound right.
Unearthed, yeah.
Unearthed.
Unearthed, yeah, it is.
Unearthed. That doesn't sound right coming out of my mouth. My mouth has never said that before. And
you should have downloaded the fucking the files to play that out of your mouth.
Exactly.
You need the code. You need the codex for that.
I never said that word before. I mean, my brain just knew how to say it, but my mouth didn't.
I was in an interview, right, for the job I'm in now, and you know what word I fucked up while giving myself like credit.
Yeah.
I'm very good at talking to people, and I'm very communicative.
Oh no, communicative.
What a word to fuck up. It's a tough word.
I'd fucking stumble over that. There's a word I can't say, and it's like succinct, but I can't even.
Oh, succinct. Is it succinct?
I don't know.
I don't know what you're talking about, though. It means like... I
don't know. I can't say it. My brain says it, but my mouth can't. I've about 5 of those words that just will not come out. Will not come out because I've never said them correctly, and because of that, I make a bollocks of them. Anyway, so he died 4 months after his wife, June. Obviously,
that's kind of nice. They don't have to live without each other for too long.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think at the time he was working on this Unearthed box set.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
Knocked it out of the park. Which is going to be reworkings of old songs and alternative takes of some of the American recordings and sessions and stuff like that. So he was working on this record, but a lot of it would have been kind of previous stuff as well. So and I think the majority of it was stuff he was doing for American as well. So it's not like it was new stuff. It was slightly weirder.
Was this is the project where Rick Rubin goes, let's make Johnny Cash cool, like not cool, but like as famous as he should be again.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
That's brilliant.
It's fucking
and of course
great.
all the rockers then came out of Waterworks.
Start buying Johnny Cash t-shirts and everything.
Especially the one where he's sticking his finger up at. I think
they love that one. They love that one. Yeah, where he's smashing the lights and all.
And they love like having a few whiskies at an after party, going stick on a bit of Johnny Cash there, because unfortunately. Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd is now taking a backseat to this cover.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%, 100%.
And as well as that, this has been knocked back a little bit by the Sound of Silence by these people.
Oh yeah,
Wear t-shirts with like Panthers and motorbikes on them.
Oh, I saw someone the other day with like the best t-shirt. It was one of them like Amazon fucking wolf howling at the moon kind of joke t-shirts.
I love one of them.
I know. I was going to stop you, man. Like, it was beautiful. It had like just the tiniest hint of glitter in it, in like the stars.
Oh, nice. Oh yeah,
it was gorgeous. Like it was.
Amazing.
And you'd have to get it in like a fucking 3 or 4 XL. I'd have to have a little sag on it. Do you know what I mean? I'd have to. You'd have to have just a little bit.
Blow in the wind. Yeah. Those wolves need the Helgar.
Exactly. They need space to run, man. It was one of them. Do you remember there was a bloke on Amazon just reviewing wolf t-shirts? There's a whole website dedicated to him.
Is there?
Yeah, there's a whole website. It's probably a Facebook page now. But there was a whole site dedicated. There's one bloke who only reviewed wolf t-shirts on Amazon, and he'd write essays, like full essays describing every single thing that was in these fucking like these paintings that were on the fucking t-shirts.
By the way, speaking of t-shirts, if anyone missed the Saturday show, I found a T-shirt and I ordered it and I encouraged everyone else to buy it. It was 8 quid. It made no sense. It was 3 tiny thumbnail pictures of Moff Tarkin, isn't it?
Grand Moff Tarkin.
Grand Moff Tarkin, Rogue from X-Men, and then randomly the man with no name from Fistful of Dollars, the spaghetti western, and then it just said above it, side face. It makes, and I'll post pictures of it when we get it. But I remember, like, I was actually trying to look for a picture, like, so I could send you, and then that popped up, and I posted it on the thing, and everyone was like, "Yeah, okay." So I hope it was more than me that got it, but I know it was just me because I'm a spa like that.
So good.
Johnny Cash.
Side face.
I actually think that the cover is actually better than the original.
Listen, that's Johnny Cash. This song, obviously, originally put out by Nine Inch Nails in 1994. It's
not as good though.
It's not as good. It's too heavy, and he says shit. I think it's the only lyric he changed, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wear this crown of shit from my wear this crown of thorns. I think it's the only lyric he changed in it. I do have the lyrics there, but I have the lyrics in front of me, but everybody knows them, you know. It's about.
I actually think Johnny Cash's lyrics are better.
They might be. Everyone I know goes away in the end. You could have it all. My empire of dirt. I will let you down. I will make you hurt. Blah 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 blah. Again, everybody knows. It's pretty much about injecting heroin by the look of it. It literally says the needle tears a hole. Like, it's about doing smack. And
could also mean like the treatments you get if you weren't well though as well.
If you weren't well for the diabetes. The diabetes. Type O diabetes.
So it actually works. It does work.
It does kind of work.
It works on too many levels for people who listen to that thinking it's the best thing ever. It is the great cover.
It is fantastic. It's too much.
Look, if you think I'm being overboard and a dick, you didn't work as a DJ in a rock bar for fucking.
Oh yeah,
it kills you.
This and closer. Yeah, leave me alone.
Yeah, just
leave me the fuck alone. So he's buried next to June in Henderson Memory Gardens near his home in Tennessee as well. So, yes. But as I said, this is the last album that was released during his lifetime. I definitely knew he was on the way out. 100% knew he was on the way out. The health was in shy. He just had a love-hate relationship with alcohol and gargle for his entire life, to the point where June had threatened to leave him, and then he'd flush all his drugs down the jacks, and then he'd go off on tour, come back with a fucking habit again. And he fucking rode himself hard, put it that way, and put himself away wet, you know what I mean? And for a man that was 71 years of age, he looked like he was 105. So anyway, that's Johnny Cash, 1932. He's doing well. 1930 fucking 2, like, holy shit. To 2003. Who is your next one?
My next one is A Lonely Place by New Order. So Lonely Place was a Joy Division song, and it was the very, very, very last song that Joy Division ever recorded before Ian Curtis died by suicide. So this was released by New Order, and this version, I think, is the New Order version. Like, you can't really get a good version of the Joy Division one because
probably a live one or something like that.
No, it was just a demo.
Yeah.
As far as I know. And it was the B-side to Ceremony, which was also written by Ian Curtis and Joy Division. So, A Lonely Place was recorded 4 days before Ian Curtis died. And the remaining members of Joy Division regrouped, obviously, as New Order. They re-recorded this and Ceremony, which was the lead single. So, although this is the New Order version, I don't think there's a great... There's a cleaned up version on YouTube and stuff like that, but not on Spotify. And I think it's impossible to say that this song doesn't foreshadow his death. I really think that some of the lyrics couldn't be taken from the demo because they were so kind of low and muffled. That Bernard Sumner from Joy Division had to try and EQ almost everything else out so we could just hear what he was saying to re-record it. I'm not entirely sure why they instantly jumped straight into re-recording Ceremony and A Lonely Place, but they did. Look, Jesus, I don't care. But look, let's take a quick look at the lyrics, right?
Yep.
My body that kills and hides, matches an awful delight, warm like a dog round your feet. How I wish you were here with me now. The hangman looks around as he waits. Gullet stretched tight as it breaks. Someday we will die in your dreams. How I wish you were here with me now. It's, that last line may not have been the right one because they couldn't get that from the recording. But It's not a stretch to say singing about Hangman 4 days before he killed himself.
Yeah.
Sorry, he was released 4 days. No, it was recorded 4 days before he killed himself. He definitely had it in his head. And I'm pretty sure that Ian Curtis tried to commit suicide before as well. A lot of people don't know about that, about him and Kurt Cobain. That wasn't just out of the blue. They had tried before.
Oh, yeah.
And most people have sort of... Yeah, which is
given it the old college try first.
Yeah. So, like I said, the last line may have been different. This song is brilliant, by the way. I prefer this to Ceremony, I really do.
Ceremony's okay.
Yeah, it's grand. It's like one of the more upbeat Joy Division songs that you would have heard. Obviously, it's New Order, but it's not. It's a Joy Division song. The two of them are released as a double, not or a single with this one. But this one would be my favourite, to be honest with you. The last song he ever sang live was Digital, I think. But just for the record, this was the last song that Ian Curtis ever recorded. This might not be this is the one that Bernard Sumner is singing as far as I know.
Yeah.
But it's really, really good though. It's really, really good and dark. There's certain times I wish we were about to just play the song and enjoy it, but this one is long and the build-ups are long. This one wouldn't have landed on the thing either.
In true fucking Joy Division form, it takes a while to get there.
Yeah, that's what I love. I love those kind of songs. I'm too afraid to release a song that's like that, but I will soon. Now everything else.
Throw it on like track 12 on the album.
Yeah,
big 8-minute long epic.
Album. I don't have enough people to listen to the album, so
it doesn't matter.
But look, that was A Lonely Place by Joy Division. The song that kind of says more than I will say about it or anything. There's not a huge amount about Joy Division and this song. There's huge articles about the last days of Joy Division, and this doesn't really come into it. I think they just banged out in the studio. He sang about a hangman was dead 4 days later, and the song is brilliant. And that's all I have to say about it, really. Who's your next one?
My next one is George Harrison, and the song is Stuck Inside a Cloud, off the album Brainwashed, which came out, it was just under a year, I think, after he died. Now the recordings were almost finished. He'd been working on it. He knew he was sick. He knew he was on the way out, and he kind of made himself go into the studio, and he was working away in it, and it was almost finished. And he had to get after he died, his son Danny and Jeff Lynne from ELO stepped in.
They're brilliant for him. Like, you know what I mean? They protect his legacy. Isn't it mad, the idea of writing a song and putting stuff out that you are not going to get, probably are not going to get to see?
It's crazy,
released.
Fucking crazy.
You're hoping that you do, but Jesus, that's mad. Wouldn't you just go, you know what, I'm going to enjoy the next few days?
You think that, wouldn't you? But then again, maybe if you're not enjoying your days, maybe you might as well do something fucking positive, something creative with it, maybe, you know?
Yeah, it seems like a missed opportunity to not do something if you're...
Almost. You don't want to be... The fucking deathbed regret is one of the things that I'm so afraid of in my life. Like, personally.
Pre-afraid of regret?
I'm pre-afraid of, like, the deathbed regret.
Do all the shit now then?
That's doing my best. Now. Like, every time I'm like, don't do that, you sap. I'll go like, but you're going to regret that when you're lying in the bed fucking...
Yeah.
And you're like, I should have done it.
The older you get, I notice the more we're like... Well, do you know what? I'd say there's a space between 40 and 50 where we're going to make erratic choices.
You better believe it. I'm going to fuck everything up.
Just because when you're after that, you're like, relax and go, right, I didn't die during that time. Relax yourself.
Exactly, yeah.
You didn't die during that time, so...
I'm going to make such a bollocks of so many things in the next 10 years. I can't wait, like. Then I'm going to write me book. That's the plan. Anyway, George Harrison. Brainwashed was his 12th and final album, came out on the 18th November 2002. Basically, like I said, a year after his death. Jeff Lynne and Danny stepped in. Now, it's a fucking mad story related to his death that is fucking hell. When I was reading this, I was like, I knew a bit about it, but didn't know all the details. It's fucking crazy. So in 1999, Harrison and his wife were attacked inside their home by this fucking maniac, right. Right? And he ended up being stabbed over 40 times.
That's right, yeah. We
40 times, yeah.
I was 40. No.
And he ended up getting a punctured lung, and because of that, part of his lung had to be removed. They took out a chunk of, I think it was left lung, had to be removed. And in 2001, he had a cancerous growth removed from his lungs as well. But it had spread to his brain. So by 2001 he had died. He actually died in Paul McCartney's house in Beverly Hills.
Did he? I didn't know that.
He was in Paul McCartney's house in Beverly Hills. One of Paul McCartney's houses. I'm sure they all had fucking 20 houses. But he was in Paul McCartney's house in Beverly Hills when he died. He was 58 when he died. Had his
that's very young for a Beatle.
It's fucking crazy, yeah. I always have this thing when I think of the Beatles. I'm laughing, I shouldn't be. I always think like Paul McCartney, like, oh, it wouldn't be so sad to be the last Beatle.
It would actually, yeah. It would though.
Like, how fucking sad is that? Like,
you don't want to be the last one. Actually, I wouldn't want to be.
Like, fucking.
Paul McCartney probably does, but he won't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, it's
like
fucking,
if you think about all the Beatles should be alive right now, and they should have written another song.
Yeah.
But 2 fucking spas wrecked it and killed them. Basically.
Yeah. Like
it's hard to say whether. Well, I don't know. But I imagine that getting stabbed 40 times did not help.
That wouldn't have helped. Like, yeah. Like, because I always laugh because I forget about Ringo. Like, I just.
Oh. Now I get you.
Yeah, but like even then, like I think Ringo's going to be the one to make it, right?
I do as well. Definitely.
I think he's just going to be the last one left, and that's you're going to see the most abysmal fucking shy getting released from the Beatles camp. Like Wu-Tang meets the Beatles remixes. Like it's going.
He would. He. The two of them are bad for doing stuff with people, but you can't really say that about Paul McCartney when the stuff he was on with Kanye West did really well.
Yeah, and it's really good. But like fucking Ringo 100% is going to be like fucking Taxman featuring Da Baby or something. Do you know what I mean? Like it's that's 100% going to happen when he's left. 100% is what's going to happen. But the lyrics for this song are fucking interesting. I have them in front of me here. Never slept so little. Never smoked so much, lost my concentration, I could even lose my touch, talking to myself, crying out loud, only I can hear me, I'm stuck inside a cloud. Like, Jesus. And it goes on and on like that. Like, I've lost my will to eat, I made some exhibition. Like it's fucking hell, just talking to myself, crying as we part, knowing as you leave me I also lose my heart. Like it's fucking grim. It's grim. Like it's definitely about dying. It's called Stuck Inside a Fucking Cloud. It's about going to heaven or whatever. Like, but Jesus Christ, imagine getting attacked in your house, stabbed 40 times, having a chunk of your fucking lung removed by the doctors, and then a couple of years later you get cancer in your lungs and they look after that, but it's spread to your brain. Like all because, like, I'm not saying it's all because he was attacked, but like that couldn't, like, you could probably make the connection there that who knows, like the fucking scar tissue and stabbings and operations on his lungs and stuff could have led to fucking cancerous growth there. You know what I mean? That may or may not have happened without him being attacked. You know, who fucking knows? No one fucking knows. But it's grim. Like lyrically, it's Jesus Christ. It's never slept so little, never smoked so much, lost my concentration, I could even lose my touch. Like it's, I don't like it. I don't like those lyrics in particular. They're too close to the bone for me, I have to say. And it's actually a great little song. It's a great little song. Jeff Lynne and his son done a great job of continuing on that music with really his feel to it. Really good in keeping that. So 2001 he died. It's like again
20 years ago.
Yeah. Like 100% knew he was on the way out, like, and done his best to finish the album, couldn't, and his mates and his son knew, like, this is important to him to get this out, his 12th album, let's finish it off, you know. Like, I don't like it, and like, as I said, it came out in 2002, and 2001 he had the cancerous growth from his lungs removed, and in November 2001 he died. You know what I mean? So there was a big bout of fucking operations, and then finding out, like, on his lungs, and then finding out he had fucking brain cancer. He didn't have that much time to figure all this out, and he's probably working on lyrics last, like the rest of us. You know, you get the music done, and then you sit down with a lyric pad or whatever. So the last creative things he'd done with this album, more than likely, were lyrics, which he would have 100% known at this stage that he was on the way out. you know. So it's more poignant because of that, I think.
Oh yeah.
Horrific, but it's a great song. I'm not gonna lie to you, I haven't listened to the rest of the album. I'm not gonna lie. I've listened to the first couple of Harrison albums. I've never listened to all of this. And when I banged this song, Stuck Inside the Cloud on, I was like, this is actually really good. This is a cool little song. Has a little bit of that kind of Indian feel that you expect from Harrison, but like loads of lovely guitar tones. Like chorus is nice and kind of catchy. It's a good track. As you said already. The playlist of this one's kind of important. That's why we're not playing segments of it. Sometimes we'll play a segment and we'll talk about how important it is, but this is a very macabre fucking playlist here. And
but it doesn't really sound like it.
It doesn't sound like it, exactly. Like its content is a little bit grim and very final, but musically they weren't trying to fucking. I don't think there's any woe is me on this playlist. Let's put it that way.
No, I don't think so.
Not that I can hear. Anyway, that was George Harrison. Who's your next one?
My next one is Warren Zevon, who is one of my favourite singer-songwriters. He was absolutely fantastic. We've talked about how lyrics foreshadow death by suicide. We will talk about, and have talked about, how lyrics foreshadow death by illness. But this next track is foreshadowing illness itself. Because for the longest time, I thought that his last 3 albums were about him having a cancer diagnosis. Because in 2000 he released an album called Life Will Kill You.
Okay.
In 2 years later he released an album called My Ride's Here. And then the very last album was The Wind, and that had the Swan Song, Keep Me in Your Heart in it. But I thought that those last 3 albums were in the knowledge that he was going to die. Okay. Turns out it was only just before he started recording the last album, which makes no sense to me, because I picked a different song off the 2000 album called My Shit's Fucked Up.
Okay.
And it's about going to the doctor and the doctor telling you, no, you're
really
fucked. Yeah. And apparently now, he didn't know then, but I'm still keeping it in the playlist.
Oh,
do you know what I mean? It just absolutely am, because this song is fantastic. So the lyrics are, I'd love to play this one, actually. I'd really love to play this one. But we won't. You have to listen to this. Well, I went to the doctor. I said, I'm feeling kind of rough. He said, I'll break it to you, son. Your shit's fucked up.
Wow.
I said, my shit's fucked up, but I don't see how. He said, that shit that used to work, it don't work now. It's such
really
a good song. But that's his type of... He's a brilliant, irreverent songwriter. He's most famous for Werewolves of London, which Kid Rock, sampled, and the absolutely amazing song Excitable Boy, which is the happiest song about a boy who killed someone.
Oh wow.
And, just mad. He was one of David Letterman's favourite singers, and he was on The Late Show so many times. But he was always kind of an out, which is kind of mad, because there's people that probably would have thought they were much better than him not getting that gig, because he's an outlier with a cult following.
Oh yeah.
The only reason he got on that is because of David Letterman. So, I mean, they wouldn't have just went, all right, Warren Zevon, come on the show. He even had a side project with members of R.E.M. called Hindu Love Gods. Now, like I said before, he did write an actual Swan song.
Okay.
Which is the one I was going to pick. But I just want to put this one on instead, because I think it foreshadows the whole thing.
Well, listen, when you open up the playlist, the fucking album is there. Click on that if you like it. And go
to his actual last song. Because the last one is called Keep Me in Your Heart, and it's a much more poignant addressing actually like loss and stuff like that. So the lyrics of that are, shadows are falling, I'm running out of breath, keep me in your heart for a while. If I leave you, it doesn't mean I love you any less, keep me in your heart for a while. So this is just songs to someone. Shit's fucked up is to no one but the world and his fans, which wasn't even the case apparently. Now that I had all this done, I was like, oh God, he's writing a song about the actual moment he heard it from the doctor. Turns out it didn't at all.
Really?
And then the next album, My Ride's Here, that's an amazing last album.
Yeah.
Title. But then it wasn't even his last album. The Wind was, which is also a brilliant last album title. Jesus Christ.
He was foreshadowing the foreshadowing.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. Like I said, I always presumed that was his Swan song. He died in 2006, I think it was it? No, it's earlier than that. 2003 he died. With his last album being The Wind. I still prefer when he was more. His lyrics are phenomenal. Yeah. Like they're just like that, like what I just read out with the other one. And he has a song called "Roland the Headless Thompson Gunner," which is, Jesus, that song is so good. Like you really have to listen to him. I'm trying to figure out who he's like. He's like a more less weird Frank Zappa. Like those, but the lyrics are more fun stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tale telling.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. He didn't do much shit's fucked up on Letterman. I don't think he would have been allowed.
He wouldn't have been allowed.
No, he wouldn't have. But I urge people to get into Warren Zevon, especially just
killer
name. This song.
Killer name.
It's a brilliant name, isn't it? It really is.
Is that his real name?
London. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah,
that's a great fucking name. Sounds like a Marvel baddie, like Baron Zemo.
It does. Yeah. If you don't know Werewolves of London, even just take that on. Yeah. It's the happiest song about a werewolf ever in London, and it's you'll know the Kid Rock. That's Warren Zevon anyway with My Shit's Fucked Up, which is a fantastic song that I thought was definitely in my head one of the first ones I put in as a Swan song, and after reading it, apparently didn't know by then. So that's crazy to me, but I'm still leaving it anyway because I think it's worth
absolutely.
Who's your next one?
My next one is one of the biggest ones is Freddie Mercury.
This is how we came up with this.
Exactly, we had to do it. This is the lodestone, the linchpin.
This is the song. Yeah. This is the
actual song.
If Black Star was the album,
this is the song.
This is just the song.
Exactly. Well, this is when we were talking about this in a previous podcast or whatever. This is obviously, like I said, where the fucking idea came from, and so I decided instead of picking another one, I'll pick this because
we were like, imagine knowing you were gonna die and writing this.
Shut up. Exactly. Let's do it. Farouk Bulsara, born 1946, passed on in 1991, died at 45 years of age. He died 24 hours after issuing a statement about having AIDS. He didn't do interviews, didn't admit he was sick. Like it was talked about in the press all the time, constantly, that like there's something wrong with him. Like he's a shell of his former self, like, you know. And obviously there was rumours left, right and centre about his sexuality and his parties and fucking what he was up to, blah blah blah. And so he released a statement saying, I've got fucking AIDS as a complication of HIV, and I don't know how much longer I have left. I'm on the way out. And 24 hours later he was gone. That was the end of it. It was actually bronchial pneumonia resulting from AIDS is how he died in the end. His ashes are buried in a secret location.
No one. Oh yeah, I want those fans.
And it wasn't too long ago that he had like a fucking wall, essentially. He had this what would you call it, fucking what was her name? It was Mary Austin was her name.
Oh yeah. His wife.
Yeah, his missus at the time. He was like his oldest friend, but he had like a memorial wall where people used to lay flowers and pictures and all this kind of stuff. And it wasn't that long ago that she was like, I can't do this anymore, and she had it cleared every day. It was cleared till people just stopped doing it. She left there for a long time. Right. So
I thought you were going to say it was destroyed or someone wrecked it.
No, she decided to knock it on the head. She couldn't take it anymore. His boyfriend Jim Hutton, who was from Ireland, who we referred to as his husband. He was. I don't know how happy he was because Mary got a lot of money when he died, like the majority of it.
As is the law.
As is the law, yeah, exactly. There was,
you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I should be giving out my opinion on it, but that was his wife. She didn't know anything going into it, and a certain section of her life is then changed forever. So yeah, why wouldn't she get money?
Like, they weren't physically married. Like, they weren't actually married. They referred to each other as, they were like common law wives, because they lived together for so long and they'd done everything so together. So in the eyes of the law, there was a connection there, but they weren't married. They never married. But and in his will, he was the guy who said like give Mary fucking X, Y, and Z. Now everybody got a few bob, you know what I mean? But apparently Freddie Mercury had built a house for himself in Ireland that was supposed to be the plan to retire to. He was going to knock it on the head in a couple of years or whatever.
Because Ireland is fucking deadly.
Exactly. He was going to retire with his fella, Jim Hutton, who I think he was from Belfast, Jim. He was from the north anyway. But they had a house built over here, and they were going to retire to it. So he still lives here. He moved back to Ireland. He fucking didn't want to be in London anymore. But so this song I picked, obviously, The Show Must Go On, as this was the song that we talked about. Like lyrically, it approaches. It's so fucking weird. It approaches Freddie's want to keep performing, but knowing that he couldn't. And he didn't even write the lyrics for this. Brian May wrote the lyrics for this. He sat down with him. Yeah, like lyrically, they were such a weird fucking band. They went through this weird phase right at the start.
They all threw in a few bob.
Exactly. Exactly. Like whoever could just take it and run with it, ran with it and gave it to Freddie. You know what I mean? He wasn't a prima donna about I have to write the lyrics. He might make some changes, but if someone had like good lyrics, he'd take them. You know, because it was a band effort. You know, and
do you know what? Your brain would be less melted doing that.
Oh, 100%. Like if someone can get some good stuff together, yeah.
I've an absolute pain in my hole doing everything. You know yourself as well. Wouldn't it be great if your basses just came up with a deadly bass line? You have to come up with that as well.
Exactly.
What about each individual hi-hat where it goes? Yeah, you have to come up with that as well.
Exactly, yeah. Especially when you're programming it. Like if you had an actual drummer, they do it in fucking 5 minutes and it takes you a week to do it on a computer. Like,
and then you're exactly, and then you're exhausted after all that, and you don't market it properly.
Yeah, whatever. Get it out. Fuck it.
So yeah, I agree. I like Queen's way of doing things. Even if sometimes it doesn't always work out, let everyone have a bit of go.
Exactly. So this is on the album Innuendo, which is one of my favourite Queen albums. It would have been. This is 1991. This came out. This would have been one of my first proper introductions to. Like I was 10 when this came out. So this would have been... I remember this album coming out. I remember my dad buying it. I remember the album cover. Like Innuendo, the song, is one of my favourite Queen songs.
Yeah,
it's fucking incredible. And
because they had a lot of dirt before that.
There was a lot, they wobbled so much into different genres. You know, they do like a fucking disco song, they do a synth song, you know, they do a straight up pop song, they do a rock and roll blues song. It was all over the place. And at the start of their career, all royalties were divided up. Is the way it worked. Equal shares. And then as they got more and more famous and bigger, they started kind of having a fucking bollock swinging contest where it was like, oh, you wrote this song, so you're going to get paid for it. And nobody else you'll just get mechanical royalties for playing on it or whatever. So they went back.
That gets very sad.
Oh, so that's dirty.
It changes the magic. Do you know what? I'd rather, even if I thought that drummer does fuck all, I'd rather pay to keep the magic.
Yes,
100%. What you're doing is you're really downgrading your drummer to get yourself more money, which is fucking pointless if you're making a mint anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, realistically, you're doing more work.
You're tripping yourself up.
You're just tripping yourself up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for Innuendo, for the last album, they went back to that equal shares. It fucking divvied up amongst us all, and everybody was happy because they knew this was going to be it. You know, they knew it was going to be this. Lyrically, again, everybody knows the lyrics to this fucking song.
Like I said, Queen are a band I don't really listen to. They're not really my thing. But fucking hell, I have loads of respect for them, and that song, I would listen to that song.
It's incredible. It's incredible. Like lyrically, it's not super mad direct. It's all kind of done and I don't know how you'd put it. Everything is kind of slightly hidden and obvious at the same time, you know. So I was looking in front of me, and inside my heart is breaking, my makeup may be flaking, but my smile still stays on. Like you're like, oh Jesus Christ!
That's the bit that gets me now. Burns me out of it.
Exactly, yeah. Inside in the dark, I'm aching to be free. Ooh, my soul is painted like the wings of butterflies. Fairy tales of yesterday grow but never die. Like I can fly, my friends. The show must go on. You know, I'll face it with a grin. I'm never giving in on with the show. I'll have to find the will to carry on with the show. You know, it's just a lot. There's a lot in there that's once you know what it's about, it's really fucking obvious. Because if you didn't know he was dying, like if you fucking grabbed someone out of some fucking cave that doesn't know anything about anything and gave him this song and read him the lyrics, to be like, oh, it's just about, you know, being sad and having to continue, you know,
I don't know. Yeah, it does. Yeah, the show must go on. Does, but yeah, I suppose it does. It markets itself as something that could be done that way as well.
Yeah, because I'll soon be turning round the corner now. Like
maybe they didn't want it to be like sound like a Swan song, but then when it finally happened, it was.
It definitely was. Like, so this is the last thing that came out while he was alive. I think he went. I think he went for real soon after this. Real soon. I should have wrote that down. I did on another notepad and I can't find it or whatever.
It's very hard for us lads. We're trying our best here.
Yeah, exactly. I think the album came out in his lifetime, but it was very soon after it came out that he was gone as well. So we didn't even get to see how big.
No, it was. I think it was within a year. I'm not 100% sure.
I think it was like 8 months or something like that. Something in the back of my head that he was gone after this album came out. But as I said, this is the linchpin for this podcast that we stumbled upon a couple of weeks ago by accident, and I had to use the same song that I used in a previous playlist and podcast. So apologies about that, but it's important to the crux of the situation here. But that's Queen / Freddie Mercury. The show must go on, and now Queen, unfortunately, are making the bollocks of it, and Ringo Starr and the whole fucking thing.
They're way worse than Ringo Starr.
Oh, it's fucking
way worse.
It's fucking. Well, we've yet to see what Ringo Starr can do with fucking with the franchise last control. Yeah, exactly. If they even
he's
gonna
to him, he's gonna absolutely DC it.
100%. The fucking Beatles television show and all is going to be coming out.
The gas thing is they were like that beforehand.
Oh yeah,
they got big.
Yeah, they were fucking. The Beatles would sell it. And they were right as well.
Then for a while they got, like, you know, before the end they got real tight, because they were the best band in the world. They are the best band in the world.
Anyway, that was Freddie Mercury with Show Must Go On. Well, Queen. But who is your next one?
I'm going to go with another beloved Canadian singer-songwriter, and it's Leonard Cohen. And we're going to talk about his last album, You Want It Darker.
What a name for an album.
Yeah.
Jesus
but did you hear this song though?
I've never heard this album. I've heard the name of this album and thought, that's so fucking good. That's so good. What a name.
Yeah, that's the thing we haven't discussed. How strong your last naming of your album game has to be.
Oh, tight. Like.
And that's top notch. 10 out of 10. Because he's always known as like the Leonard Cohen, the dark singer-songwriter, and You Want It Darker. Amazing. But the lyrics and the way, you see, we can talk about the lyrics all the time. It's pointless unless you hear the delivery. So that's why this is why it's very much playlist driven. After touring a lot for 4 years between 2008 and 13, it's 5 years, I believe. Paul, well done. Leonard Cohen. I left his fucking name in my notes. Leonard Cohen, who I was just talking about. Suffered multiple fractures of the spine. This is the bit I wrote this down because I meant to look into it later. That's what it was. I copied and pasted this, but Leonard Cohen began to suffer multiple fractures of the spine. And I wanted to look into this later because it only came out afterwards that he had leukemia, and I presume that's related to this. He had lots of other physical problems as well. So, due to the fact that he was completely immobile, this album was recorded. I think all of it in his home.
Wow.
In Los Angeles. And then he sent bits of it online to the other people that were going to be on the album and helping out with it and stuff like that. Now, here's the mad thing, right? He said that this condition helped him eliminate every distraction that he would normally have when he was recording an album. And he said, in a certain sense, this particular predicament is filled with many fewer distractions than other times in my life that have enabled me to work with little or more concentration and continuity than I had when I was having the duties of making a living, being a husband and being a father. And here's the line that fucking got me. He was recording it with his son, right? And despite the fact that he was absolutely in bits and couldn't really move much, his son said occasionally in bouts of joy he would, through his pain, stand up in front of the speakers and we'd sing all the songs together like we were teenagers. I'm like, oh, Jesus.
Wow.
Jesus. I meant to go back to that thing with this. I wanted to. It doesn't really matter actually the anatomy of diagnosis and when it happened. I was going to get into that. That's why I left that note in there. But I'm kind of glad I didn't go back to it. To be honest with you, we're getting too bogged down in the dates of diagnosis and stuff like that. But it does help the case when we're talking about, when they knew and when the public knew and what came out in between that. So the lyrics of this are: if you are the dealer, I'm out of the game. If you are the healer, it means I'm broken lame. If thine is glory, then mine must be shame. You want it darker, we kill the flame. But the way he delivers that line, stab you up. Fuck. It's that last line, stab you all up. Absolutely. A million candles burning for the help that never came. You want it darker, hiney, I'm ready, my lord. Yes, this is the only. Sorry, I think it's the first single he released off it, and the second single was released posthumously. Posthumously, there's another word I can't ever get.
Posthumously. Yeah, it's too many stupid words.
Yeah, he's an absolutely amazing singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
Absolutely was. I noticed a huge sense of sadness from all the people that were huge fans. Now, that's a bit of a stupid thing to say.
Yeah.
This much more than others. You see, something about Leonard Cohen fans. I have loads of Leonard Cohen fans that never go on about. Like, other people go on about. Like, you just, shut up. So, honestly, they were, knocked. I know loads of people that were knocked hard by Leonard Cohen's passing. The album was released 17 days before he died, so that's just over 2 weeks. It was released to absolute critical acclaim. That's probably down to the fact that he got to have full concentration over it. He was literally put into a spot and probably nothing else to do but write the album.
Yeah.
The title track, the one I picked here, One It Darker, won a Grammy Award for Best Rock Performance in 2018. I know I keep saying I'd love to play this, but I'm much rather we listen to the whole song. So we're not going to do that now while we're baking alive up in this room. I thought this Leonard Cohen thing was brilliant. I really, really did. I haven't listened to the whole album.
Yeah.
I listened to. I knew this song. Like I said, these are songs that came to me in my head when we first decided to do this. The bass line, this is deadly. It's just a really, really chilled out song. But the delivery of the lyrics is, like I said, right to the throat. Get you. Absolutely get you. That was Leonard Cohen.
Deadly.
With You Want It Darker. Who's your next one?
My last one. Yeah, my last one is Joey Ramone.
I listened to this song.
This is not a good song, and it's not a good album at all.
But there's obviously a reason you picked it, and it is...
Kind of. This is Joey Ramone's first and last solo album.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that now.
Yeah, it's first and last one. It came out after his death. He died in 2001. It came out in 2002, but it was finished. It had been done. I think he might have been kind of playing with the idea of not releasing it. Now, there was another album released afterwards that was kind of made up of...
That happened with all these people.
Yeah, there was bits of songs that were left over from these sessions and bits of demos that were finished and shit like that they had some vocal takes on and stuff. The album after this is, it is an album, but it's more of a compilation. This album, Don't Worry About Me, is the name of the album is called Don't Worry About Me and the song is called Don't Worry About Me.
That's a good title as well.
Pretty much. Now, lyrically, it's not about dying at all. It's about standard fucking... You could take the lyrics from this and put them into any Ramone song ever.
Yeah, but I think we just talked about Queen doing that. They wanted it to be double-edged, I think, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know whether this is double-edged. I think this is just stupid fucking Joey Ramone lyrics. I want you, baby, but you always lie, always complaining or contemplating suicide. I want you, baby, but you don't even try, always complaining, so I said, boy, baby, boy. It's like that. I knew that I wanted you, but you're the kind of girl that you just can't get through to. Standing on the corner in a miniskirt, you're the kind of girl that I just can't forget. Now I'm sitting here all sad and blue, thinking about all that we've been through. It's about a fucking board. It's not about him dying, but he absolutely knew he was dying, because he'd been dying for years before this.
Right.
He was.
And I think that this was hard for me. It probably would have been hard for you as well. When there was a period like that where they knew they were dying, picking out the song that they were talking about it on, they might not have done it. But it doesn't mean that
I don't think he did.
Swan Song.
I don't think he really approached his death like that.
I picked that Gord Downey one, and the songs are about his friends and stuff like that.
Yeah, like he was diagnosed with lymphoma in 1995 and died in 2001. So he had 6 years of doing bits and bobs. Now the Ramones were over and done at this stage. The Ramones were done, and it's like I'd say that the tone of the album. I have to imagine someone like Joey Ramone, who suffered fucking immensely with a lot of kind of mental health issues and stuff like that, and tics, and he had all sorts of fucking stuff going on in his life. I have to imagine that, like, being a big fan of the Ramones and fucking owning every Ramones album and knowing most of them intimately, that he may have sat down and said, like, I know this is going to be it. Should I?
But that's still a Swan Song. Regardless.
Oh yeah, like it definitely is. But I think he might have like done a double take on it and said, no, I'm going to leave them with what they like me for.
Yeah.
You know, shitty songs about fucking drinking and fighting and, you know, women leaving them.
Yeah.
You know?
No, like I know we've picked songs that are dealing with it, but that doesn't mean they have to.
Yeah, exactly.
He can go out whatever way whatever way he wants to go.
Pretty much. I know when he was dying, he was listening to U2, who were one of his favourite bands. He loved U2. He was listening to U2 at the time.
I wanted to make a joke there, but I'm not going to.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I mean, like,
what, you'd want to die if you were listening to U2?
Yeah, but then I was like, I can't. It's an Irish thing to do, but I like U2.
Yeah, me too. The producer on this album was a guy called Daniel Ray. He was actually in the Ramones for a while, and he wrote a load of cool songs.
The Ramones for a while though.
Daniel Ray had a different name.
No, but there's a lot of people in the Ramones.
Yeah, but however, this is one of the things. I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I think the reason that the Ramones stayed pretty good throughout their entire career was that they always brought in a little bit of new blood. Like, whenever someone would fuck off, they'd bring in, you know, like CJ or something, you know, or they'd get rid of, like when Tommy fucked off, they bring in Marky. They were always pretty good about bringing someone in, and it might only be for a year or two. But
Killing Joke do that as well.
Oh yeah,
you know, everyone does it.
Absolutely. And Morrissey just announced an entire new band lineup for the next the run of Los Angeles shows. All entirely brand new. Alan White and all is back. Boz is gone.
No. Why?
I don't know what's going on. He put the announcement out today. He was playing on this. He has this drummer. I think it might be the drummer from like Enter Shikari or something like that. He has playing with him.
It's mental. The first time that Boz hasn't played?
Yeah, there's only ever one gig that Boz, one solo gig that Moz didn't play, and it was the first ever solo Morrissey gig, and it was everybody from the Smiths except for Johnny Marr. So
fucking hell.
So yeah, now
maybe they're all just very tired or something.
I don't know. I don't know.
That seems mad poignant to me if someone told me that. Like,
yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. But this guy Daniel Ray, he wrote Pet Sematary and a bunch of other Savage songs for
deadly
for Ramones. He also wrote Everglade for L7. He was a producer on the Michael Graves era Misfit stuff. He produced for the Golden Horde from Dublin, White Zombie, Richard Hale, Entombed. He done a lot of stuff. The second solo album is called You Know by Joey Ramone. As I said, it was demos from the earlier sessions, and what happened was the bits that they got in people like Joan Jett and Stephen Van Zandt, guys from Cheap Trick and shit like that. They got them in to help finish it.
Look, there's the same thing with Leonard Cohen. There was an album that was released afterwards that his son didn't want to be called Leftovers. The same with Gord Downey. There was one released after that with the other stuff that the producers could get together into songs the way he felt he wanted it to sound. So yeah, this happened a lot. The Swan Songs had a little bit extra. Now, I think the ones we picked were mostly done with love and care.
Yeah.
Not a studio or the
cash in like a fucking Notorious B.I.G. job.
Oh,
or Tupac or something.
Tupac forever.
Tupac still putting records out.
They're not bangers.
They're far from fucking bangers. Tupac put so much shit out that like Eminem made beats for, and Eminem is not famous for beats.
If it was Olive Oil, it would be the 76 pressing of the olives.
Yeah,
there's no more oil left in them.
The chemically rendered fucking oil, like where they just melt the stone inside it and call it fucking olive oil. Yeah, that's what Tupac's at right now. So yeah, he spent 6 years now, and he was on the way out. The last Ramones album, Adios Amigos, came out the year he was diagnosed with lymphoma as well. So, which is one of my favourite Ramones albums. The last one, Adios Amigos, is fantastic. It's a really, really good album. 6 years spent knowing what he had an awful lot of time off where I think he'd just done a few guest spots and messed around with some pals. I think he might have sat in a few sessions, got like an executive producer role on a couple of albums, that type of shit. And before he decided, I'm going to put an album out. I'm not putting the Ramones back together again, because that's done, but I'm going to do a solo album. Because he started off as a drummer. He was actually the Ramones' original drummer, and Dee Dee Ramone was the singer. And they kind of swapped around where Dee Dee moved to bass and Joey started singing, because Dee Dee couldn't sing 2 nights in a row without blowing his voice out.
Yeah.
So like he was a reasonably talented musician as well. Like he could piece together a song. He was always writing bits and pieces as well. So that was Joey Ramone. As I said, this is that album in particular would have been the least. Probably the least dark song maybe on this list.
Yeah, but like I said, it's still
his fucking last album, his Swan Song album. And like I said, one came out like 2012. So yeah, like 11 years later, that was made up of bits and bobs, that was finished by a bunch of people like Joan Jett and stuff like that as well. You can't really consider that because it wasn't directly worked on with the concept of it being a Joey Ramone kind of solo album if there's that many guests on it. But yeah, that album, don't worry about it. It's not good. The song's not well. It's not bad. It's just
it's all right.
Ramonesy.
I listened to it there and I was
shy.
like,
it's standard. Yeah, it's not going to be good.
But like you said, Ramones fans love that shit.
Exactly. That's all he wanted to do. I think he wanted a Swan Song to be what he was known for, as opposed to putting out a fucking Leonard Cohen style. Yeah, exactly. Like that. You weren't going to get that. And that was Joey Ramone. Who was your last one?
I struggled with the last one. I wanted to put Elliott Smith in because I feel like his last album was like a journey to his suicide, and like a lot of people say his last few albums, or even maybe his whole career, was a journey to suicide. But I couldn't really nail it down, if I'm being honest with you. And the same goes for the very last Nirvana song I ever recorded, You Know You're Right, which is such an incredible song. It's really underrated Nirvana song as well. That is the last song he ever wrote and recorded. And there is a definite sense of doom and gloom off that. But again, I couldn't nail it down. So I went with something I know to be true, and it's a really, really nice song. And it's I'm Not Gonna Miss You by Glenn Campbell. So it was co-written by Campbell and Julian Raymond, released on the 30th of September in 2004. This was for this documentary soundtrack, I'll Be Me, which focuses on his the diagnosis and how he's living with Alzheimer's. I'm not going to lie to you, still haven't watched that. Not ready to go through that, because that's going to be one of those things. You know, when you know you're going to be destroyed by something, you have to put time aside, a special type of time aside, and then you push it aside again. You push it aside again. So eventually, I'll have to sit down and just let myself get destroyed by this. Because I know it's going to be brilliant. I actually stuck Glenn Campbell on the bus into work the other day. And it's the music is golden.
Yeah.
Like Wichita Lineman gives you shivers. Still gives me shivers and chills, no matter how many times I listen to it.
Outrageous.
Rhinestone Cowboy sounds like in this day and age we should be slagging it. It's an unreal song.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely unreal. And Gentle on My Mind, absolutely beautiful. But this is the song that he co-wrote with Julian Raymond. And Julian Raymond said that Glenn Campbell came up with the title for the song without even knowing it.
Oh, really?
So he was talking to him one day, and Campbell said, I'm having a hard time with people asking me. Julian said he's having a hard time about people constantly asking him about Alzheimer's and how he felt about having Alzheimer's, which must be fucking crushing. That person gets to ask once, he has to answer 10 times a day. He never talks about it much, but he came up to Julian Campbell. He came to Julian Raymond and said, I don't know what everyone's worried about. It's not like I'm going to miss them. That's a fucking mad way to think of it. Like, his mind will be gone before he gets to worry about really missing people properly. And the lyrics of the song are, and it's a really nice song, but it is crushing in ways. The lyrics are, I'm still here, but yet I'm gone. I don't play guitar or sing my songs. They never defined who I am, the man that loves you till the end. You're the last person I will love. You're the last face I will recall. And best of all, I'm not going to miss you. It's nicely sung, but it's also quite dark.
Yeah.
And there's a line later on about like how he knows it's selfish to think of that when everyone will miss him.
Yeah.
There will come a time very, very soon, one day, where he's just not going to know what's going on and miss anyone. Or yeah, it's crazy.
Oof.
It's crazy, and it's a really, really nice song. And I'm really gearing myself up. I was doing the research for this and reading up a bit more, and I went, you know what I'll do? I'll finally watch the documentary. And I was like, you know what? I'm not feeling great today.
Yeah.
So, and I know it's an amazing documentary. Everyone has told me.
You have to be in the right headspace for it.
I really do, and it's too warm. That's what I'm going to say. It's too warm.
It's too warm to do fucking jack shit, man.
It's too warm to watch the Glenn Campbell documentary where he's living with Alzheimer's. It really is, though, and I fucking love Glenn Campbell, man. And yeah, so that's very sad.
Sad.
Yeah.
No good. That was it, folks.
That's it. Yeah.
That was not necessarily our grimmest podcast today, but definitely the most
Killers.
Yeah, Killers is fucking grim. That was it. That was Swan Songs. Oh yeah, Patreon. Do us a favour.
Please do.
Yeah.
Please do.
Do us a favour. If you like what we do, you got the patreon.com/Lost Art Podcast. It's £5 a month. Get you access to loads of exclusive podcasts and videos and all the live shows that we done during the lockdown. Even the 2 live shows. I done a solo one, done one with Paul, then a proper Lost Art live on Saturday night. They're up there. The 2 live crews. They're all up on Patreon now as well. So that's the only place you're ever going to hear those, because we couldn't put them up for public consumption. Not because of content, a little bit because of content, but because we play songs. And we were bold. And we DJ'd and we drank and had the crack. And it was great fun. And I hope there's another big lockdown and we get to do it again, because working is for saps. Let's put it that way.
It's a pain.
I just don't like work. It's bullshit. It's literally too late in my life now to be learning how to work hard. So it's over for me.
I'm always tired. I don't even work that hard. Actually, no, I do work fucking hard, if I'm being honest with you. I'm stressed and I look at the screen all day. That is tiring. I don't care what
it is.
I honestly think I'd be less tired walking around.
That's modern fucking coal mining, is what that is. So, fuck it, like, those jobs, not that they don't exist anymore, but they're less and less. So, if back in the day, you weren't a fucking an apprentice for a vet or whatever the fuck it is, you had to do a job like a coal miner or a fucking street sweeper, and those jobs don't really exist anymore. Not so much. So you have to go into what is the new coal mining and street sweeping and fucking emptying bins, digital work in front of a screen all day, and it's just as tiring. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Mentally tiring, and your eyes hurt, and it's bad. It's not nice, and your back hurts from sitting down all the time.
Oh, stop! I never realised I'm not supposed to bend this way.
Yeah, it's shit. It's shit. So patreon.com/Lost Art Podcast. You don't want to do that because of ko-fi.com/Lost Art Podcast, and give us a little tip. Tip us for our work. The links are on the text of the podcast app that you're listening to probably now. They're down below you. Click on them. Give us a few quid so we can keep doing this, because it costs money to do it. We will be back in whatever, 2 weeks, something like that. Whenever. We'll be back whenever. We're not setting dates anymore, because we're too busy with real life. So all the more reason to throw us a few quid to make sure that we do come back and do it again. That's it. Talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Yes, we will. Thank you.